Good day everyone, I am Alovinde Nikutas and today I will be discussing about managing communications. Communication is the most important skills in management because every organization depends on it to function effectively. In this presentation, we will discuss communication fundamentals, its importance, the communication process, barriers to communication and nonverbal communication. Communication is not simply talking or sending a message. True communication happens only when the receiver understands what the sender means. For example, if a manager gives instructions but the employee misunderstands him, then the communication has failed, even though the message was sent. Communication keeps an organization running. Without it, employee won't know their communication responsibilities, managers cannot give instructions, and teamwork becomes impossible. Communication also supports the core management functions, such as planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. For example, on board a ship, the captain communicates the voyage plan to the officers, who then relay instructions to the crew. Without communications, operations would be unsafe. The two-way process of communication. Step 1. Develop an idea. The sender first decides what the message to be communicated. Imagine, a captain wants to avoid bad weather. So, the captain decides to change course by 90 degrees, which is the step 1, developing an idea. For step 2, encode the message. The sender converts the idea into words on how he will transmit it to the receiver so that he can understand. So he gives the order, that is. Number 2 is encode. Step 3 is how will he transmit his message. The sender delivers the message through communication channels such as face-to-face conversation, telephone, email, memo, or radio communication. So he speaks through the radio. The captain decides to speak on the radio because he is on the side wing of the bridge on the starboard side, so that he can see its vast ocean. Step 4. The receiver receives the message. The receiver obtains the message. Good listening is important during this step. So, the officers hears the communication, the order from the captain. Step 5 is the message is being decoded. The receiver interprets the message. Communication is not successful until understanding occurs. So, the officer understands it and decode. That is step 5. In step 6, accept the message. The receiver decides whether to accept, reject, or partially accept the information. That is step 6. He accepts the instructions. In step 7, he uses the information. The receiver takes the action based on the message. He changes the ship's course, that is the order of the captain. So, the last step is step 8, provide feedback. Finally, the receiver responds to the sender. Like, for example, he replies, "Course change, Captain," or "However." Even when communications follows all 8 steps, problems can still occur. But why? For example, disagreements happens when people have different opinions. Number 2, Defensive reasoning happens when someone focuses on winning an argument instead of solving the problem. The third, cognitive dissonance occurs when new information conflicts with someone's beliefs. Now, 4 is face-saving, means protecting one's pride instead of accepting criticism. In the personal barrier, someone is angry and refuses to listen. In the physical barrier, loud engine noise prevents crew members from hearing radio instructions. Or semantic barriers, like a technical abbreviations is misunderstood by someone unfamiliar with it. Communication is not limited to spoken or written words. People also communicate through their actions, body language, and one important reason is that failure to act also sends a message. For example, a manager who never recognizes good performance may unintentionally communicate that employees' efforts are not appreciated. And another important principle is action speaks louder than words. If a manager encourages honesty but behaves dishonestly, employees are more likely to imitate the manager's action that follow the spoken advice. So, in the body language is another important form of nonverbal communication. For example, like avoiding contact, eye contact, facial expressions, smiling, frowning, hand gestures, leaning forward or backward, crossing arms, physical touch. That is one of the body language. So, what do you prefer? Which do you trust more, a person's words or their action? Mostly will answer actions. Why? We say action speaks louder than words. Like, for example, smiling, folding your hands, like avoiding contact. It says it all. Your facial actions, your body language, avoiding it sends a message to the person who watch over you. That's why it creates misunderstandings or fights. To summarize, communication is the foundation of every successful organization. Effective communication helps people understand one another, coordinate their work, overcome barriers, and achieve common goals. By mastering both verbal and non-verbal communication, we become better leaders, employees, and future maritime professionals. Thank you for listening.